But Jon Heyman, for whatever reason, it's AJ Preller's the reason. Peter Seidler's the reason. He's got the Padres as 7-1, second shortest odds to the Dodgers, right?
The Dodgers.
To land Shohei Ohtani this offseason.
Dennis today on with Darren. I didn't hear it, but the gist of what was told to me is that, yeah, the Padres are still going to be in on Shohei. We've known that. It's been written about. We know that Shohei is kind of the Preller white whale in a sense, like how he views Shohei Ohtani is a guy that he has always wanted. I mean, they were a finalist to sign him back 2018. And, at the time there was no DH. So think about how the sway from AJ Preller and having a Deo Nomo there was to a guy like Shohei Ohtani. I think with the injury now to Shohei, yeah, there's a better shot to sign him because he's not going to cost $700 million. It sucks, I think, for the baseball world because I think I wanted to see what the market was going to be like for Shohei. Was it going to be this $700 million contract that was, I guess, projected for Shohei, like his value? We talked about that with ESPN's projected value for Shohei. So I wanted to see that. Now I don't have any clue about how teams are going to view him. But what it does sound like is this doesn't affect the Padres at all. Like the Padres are still potentially going to go after Shohei extremely hard and aggressively because of how badly they would want Shohei Ohtani on this team.
It's funny. This injury to me gives me more of a reason not to entertain it. Because the risk has just shot up exponentially. It was always risky with like the only two-way player in modern baseball history. Do you know his career earnings in 6 years? Because this is way different. In 2018, when they wanted this guy, they were going to pay him whatever the posting fee was and $20 million, whatever he could. That was like the max.
Yeah.
Even with his arbitration year, this year he's making $30 million. He's made $42 million in 6 years. He's going to make $42 million per season, which is fine. He's earned it. He's had great offensive numbers just on that. That's fair. But he's entering his age 30 season. They've got all these players under contract in their 30s, not their 20s. Yeah. You don't know if he's going to pitch again or if he does, if he looks like the same pitcher. It's like the question marks have just gotten so much bigger on Shohei Ohtani, and the Padres have so many question marks everywhere you look. Don't get me wrong. If you could snap your finger, you'd love to have him, but you're just adding more risk into players in their 30s. And I don't know if this is the franchise that should be taking on that type of risk.
You're absolutely right. Is the Padres' track record here lately isn't great. And also, when you look at the financials of this team, again, it doesn't make sense. They have so many holes to fill on this roster that one player who would just be a DH for potentially 2 years, it's not – look, would I want Shohei Ohtani on this team? Of course I'd want Shohei Ohtani on this team. He's the most recognizable player. I said this yesterday. He is the guy right now that's breaking through. Breaking through the like wall of national
absolutely
sports talk.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that with like even as great as Mookie Betts is, you're not seeing that with Mookie Betts. And Mookie Betts could be the MVP of the National League this year. You're only seeing it with Shohei. But it's because he's also a pitcher. If he's just a DH, does he break through like that? I don't think so.
And by the way, don't you think that if he, let's say he doesn't pitch for a year like 2024.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have to play in the field? Like, doesn't he have to? You're going to pay it. You think Shohei Ohtani wants to spend his next 10 years DHing only? He doesn't. I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to play somewhere.
Where though? Where is he going to play?
I don't know. First.
Okay, great.
He's going to have, there's no way. Am I wrong that a team's going to sign him to a 10-year, even without the pitching aspect, $400, $500 million deal to a DH? I mean, doesn't defense have any value? Has that ever happened in baseball history?
Here's how potentially you could justify it for him just being a DH. You sign Shohei, and this has nothing, unfortunately, has nothing to do with on field. It has everything to do with off field. You have Ohtani on your team. you have now become a global brand, and the amount of money and revenue that you could bring in because of Shohei Ohtani is something that I would think is very appealing to a team.
Oh, yeah, great. Look how it's worked out for the Angels.
I'm just saying, John.
Where their owner has said we're going to sell the team.
Yeah.
And where they've never even been close to a playoff spot with them. When's the closest they were? 10 games?
Yeah.
I don't think you do it for a marketing play, especially for the Padres. They market well. They draw. If nothing else, they do create revenue. I don't know if they create enough for their payroll.
I agree.
They put butts in seats, so to speak. The guy's a 10-WAR player.
But he's a 10-WAR player because he's a
pitches.
Pitcher.
Exactly.
What is he if he's not a pitcher? He's still a 6-7 WAR player.
Yeah, definitely.
But you would need to have these offensive seasons duplicated for the next 4 or 5 years if he's not going to be that dominant pitcher like he is the last two.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It would be really interesting to see Shohei Ohtani as a DH, to your point, let's say for at least a couple of years, and work his way back. And let's say just an average pitcher that second year. So you get a 2-year DH, an average pitcher that second year, and then we'll see what happens, years 3, 4, 5, and beyond. What is the value of that? Honestly, what is the value of that? Can you convince me that that's a $400 or $500 million player? Someone is going to pay that money.
Someone will.
I don't know if it's going to be the Padres. Again, everyone would be over the moon about it. It could be the difference in being really good or not being really good. I just think there's so many question marks, especially after this injury with him. But
would you be surprised if they signed Shohei?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. I wouldn't be shocked because it's AJ Preller and Peter Seidler. I'd be very surprised because of what Shohei Ohtani said out of his mouth. I want to go somewhere where I can win.
Yeah, it is here in San Diego the best place to win with all the things that have gone wrong for this franchise this year, with the future of this franchise, frankly, up in the air as far as Bob Melvin's future goes.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Again, I would like Shohei on this team, but for the money that he is demanding and going to get, does it make sense to sign a guy to that much money who is just a DH?
Well, especially let's use Ha-Seong Kim. Okay, you got him out there entering the final year of a deal where Dan Szymborski comes on with us and says he's going to get $25 million plus per year.
Yeah.
Because he's as good of a player as Dansby Swanson and other middle infielders in recent free agent classes that have commanded that salary. So, are you going to be able to keep Kim? Are you going to make Kim expendable for Ohtani? Reasonable thought. Certainly, if Ohtani was fully healthy, beyond a reasonable thought.
Because Dan Szymborski thinks Kim's going to get $150 million.
You're creating just more questions.
Yeah.
If you put that money to Ohtani. Again, there's a lot of questions on the Padres. To your point, Ohtani is one player. This team has proven they're not one player away.
They're not. They're not even close. And the holes that they have next year on this team, Ohtani's not fixing it. Now, would he fix the DH spot? Absolutely. He would fix the DH spot because that's been a huge problem for this team all year long. But is that going to fix the team?
I can guarantee you this, Jim. Tell me I'm wrong here. I will guarantee this. And I hate to say it, but it's true, and everyone listening to me or watching agrees. If Shohei Ohtani comes here in 2024, he will not replicate his 2023 numbers. There's just no way. There is no way he's replicating his 2023 numbers at Petco. Nobody does it. Nobody does it. He'd switch leagues. He'd have the UCL situation. There's no possible way he comes here and hits 50 home runs. And play that back if he does it.
No.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, I think coming here would be like the worst thing for him. It's
just tough. It's been a very tough place to hit.
And I don't view Shohei as this guy that has this like big ego.
Right.
But again, you're dealing with the situation that you're coming into a clubhouse with established guys this is their team. And I know you have Mike Trout in LA, but Mike Trout is not like Manny or Soto or Tatis or Xander.
Yeah.
And you'd also be coming here with a guy who you highly, highly, highly respect. I'm talking about Shohei in Yu Darvish.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole dynamics with Japanese-born players and the respect for the game they have and the not wanting to step on the toes of other stars, like, it just would be such a weird dynamic if Shohei came here, dude. And if they sign him to that big contract. But I will say, don't doubt Preller as far as going after him.
Yeah, no, they'll put together a nice PowerPoint.
Yeah, they will.
I'm sure it'll be a very nice presentation. I'm sure he'll speak in Japanese to Ohtani, which I think he was rumored to have done in 2018.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I'm thinking of when Yu Darvish, the Padres met with who? Cubs outfielder
Seiya Suzuki.
Wasn't Darvish like, man, you're going to love Chicago. Wait
like,
till you get there next.
He's well, Chicago or San Diego. He's like, dude, I would pick Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's a really good time. You're going to absolutely love Chicago. So, yeah, it's a fair point, too, that dynamic that's at play. Listen, they'll make the presentation. They'll absolutely meet with them. I'm sure we'll hear a million things about the Padres and Ohtani.
So many rumors.
But it's one of those things, like, until it's officially official, I'm going to be like, there's reasons to believe that Dodgers make sense.
Yeah.
Team in the American, proven winners with unlimited spending power, which the Padres have currently. Will that continue into the future? And again, if Peter Seidler proves us wrong again, you thought Machado signing was a big deal. I mean, if you land Shohei Ohtani, international superstar, even off this elbow tear, that's, an unbelievable signing. And you can only imagine what that could possibly mean for whoever gets him.
Well, I mean, Preller is looking for another offseason championship.
True. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Where are the winter meetings this year? If they're not in San Diego, I don't know if we'll try to pull that off.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
And I don't think they are.
Raise the offseason banner.
Right. Exactly.